I'm shooting this video today. I'm Colby. A lot of you will know me. Some of you may have never seen me before. I'm posting this on my cosplay YouTube, but I'm also posting it on Facebook and other social media accounts. I'm going to tell you there are going to be some trigger warnings in this video. Namely, it's going to be discussing anxiety, depression, and suicide. These are not going to be comfortable subjects that I'm going to discuss today, but the point of this video is not about comfort. I'm going to discuss today my 30-year battle with depression. And I say battle because it's not just a fight. When you suffer from depression and you have suicidal idealizations, it is a battle. It is a war. You have skirmishes, you have battles, and you have fights. And it is a daily thing. And there may be days that you don't have to fight as hard. And then there are other days that it is a full-blown battle and you feel like you are not going to win. And when I discuss that it is a 30-year war, I'm recording this. It is June of 2021. Next month, July 2021, will mark the 30-year anniversary that I legitimately attempted suicide. It was the summer of 1991. I was 16 years old, and I had a lot going on in my life. This is the first time I really... Oh, sorry, a bug flew in my eye. This is the first time I really understood what depression was. I'd had moments beforehand in my life, but it wasn't until I was 16 that my war with depression really started. At times I was a little bit of an outcast. I was a lot different than the people that I went to school with. I had a few friends. I had some things going on in my family life. I won't go into all the details of that, but at the age of 16, I legitimately attempted suicide, and it should have succeeded. I shouldn't be here today. Due to a turn of events, I am here today, and that's what I'm going to discuss. And this is where the topic is going to start getting very uncomfortable. It was the summer of 91, and I'll tell you the story, and I've told this story to numerous people, but I'm putting this out here, and this is really where the depression and the suicide comes in. I was down here in Tennessee visiting my mom and family, and I started thinking about some things I was getting ready to go back to where I was living at in Missouri. And to be honest, I didn't understand how to handle these things. There were some things going on in personal life and everything else, and I really didn't know where to turn, and I was really suffering with depression. And I shouldn't have had it, but I had a little .22 revolver that I'd gotten a hold of. You know, I was a little teenager back then, and I'd probably gone up on the side of the mountain, probably put 1,000 rounds through it that summer, no problem, no nothing. And I was just sitting there, sitting in my mom's bedroom. Nobody was home, and I was watching some MTV, just chilling and relaxing, and started thinking about everything I was going back to, and the thought come across my head that I didn't want to go back. And I reached down into my bag and spun the cylinder, and it was fully loaded, and I was like, okay. I was like, I've got nothing left. I pulled the hammer back, I stuck it against my head, and I pulled the trigger. And that should have been the end of my story. I shouldn't be here to tell you all what happened. And the gun basically squib fired. It misfired. The bullet stopped about halfway down the barrel, and the bullet didn't go off like it was supposed to. Now, mind you, I'd put 1,000 rounds through this gun that summer, no hiccups, nothing like that. It was brand new ammunition. This shouldn't have happened, but something stopped that bullet. I had a little powder burn on my head where it had done it, and I'm sitting there looking at it like, well, that's odd. And so I literally started disassembling the gun to fix it, to try again. I was going to end my life that day. And as I'm taking the gun apart, I'm right between two churches. We're in the middle of the Bible Belt, so that's the Tony here. So ironically, when I get to this part of the story, a church bell starts going off. So as I'm sitting there taking this gun apart, they pop on MTV, and I'm pretty sure it was Kurt Loder at the time, and he says, "Hey, are you Alice Cooper fans out there?" He goes, "The Coop dropped a new album this summer," and he goes, we got the title track off of it that we're getting ready to show you." And I just kind of was like, oh, I like Alice Cooper. And I put the parts of the gun down, and the video starts, and it was the song "Hey Stupid." And if you don't know the song, it's a fantastic song. He's singing to this boy and a girl about the rock and roll lifestyle and how it'll tear you down. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is a great song. And that's when it hits me. There's a line in the song, and it was like a slap to the face. It was a wake-up call. And he says, "Hey girl, I know you're seeing red. Don't put that pistol to your head. Sometimes your answer is heaven sent. Your way is so damn permanent." And I'm like, and I look down at the gun and I'm like, okay, something stopped this gun from going off. And as I'm starting to fix the gun to try again, I get that kind of message. Now, I hadn't been a real good believer in something else out there, but that made me start thinking that maybe there is something out there that, you know, is telling me, hey, it's not your time. And I got rid of the gun. It's in the river. That's where I threw it. That afternoon I went and threw it in the river. I rode my bike down and it's gone. I got rid of it. I didn't want it around me. Now, the next couple weeks later, I went back to Missouri, and you know, I'd met my best friend, and I'd already met him, but we hadn't become best friends yet. But you know, and he really helped me out with a lot of things, and I still dealt with depression off and on, and he helped me through a lot of it. Having somebody there that was an anchor for me really helped. I mean, I had some other friends, but he really saw me at some of my lowest parts, and he just he nudged me on. And it was really good having that one person that really I could open up to and see my darkest moments and help me through them. He was that light for me, and I'll always be thankful for him. We don't get to talk as much now, you know, our adult lives have gotten in the way, but you know, I will always remember he's always been there for me. He was a brother. And I'm starting to get a little emotional here. So I was lucky, really lucky to have that. And like I said, it's a war. Well, a few years later, you know, I went off to the military. I had some things that I started becoming a different person after that. I still had a lot of anxiety. I still had depression here and there. But I started trying to make myself a better person. And a few years later, you know, I had some rocky roads up and down, and I joined the military. Well, I kind of got screwed over by a woman while I was in there. She was also in, and it really affected me, and I hit another low spot. But instead of getting depressed, due to the situation, I let anger take over, and I almost killed a person. I actually spent a night in the brig. If it wasn't for that, I had been talking to a chaplain and he knew all the situation that was going on, I would have been completely hosed. But I had somebody I'd been talking to about my problems that was going on, and that really helped. But I mean, I let my emotions, because the opposite of the depression, it's all part of it, is your emotional state. And I let the things I was feeling, instead of internalized, I was pushing it outwards, and it turned to aggression. It turned into hate. And I let my emotions get the better of me. I mean, the guy started in, a fight broke out, and I was being charged with attempted murder because I let myself go too far. And everything got cleared up and everything, but that was just kind of part of the reasons that a couple months later I ended up getting out. I got a good discharge and everything, but the fact is, it started a domino effect, and I realized I wasn't right for all that. Well, with this war on depression, years later, you know, I got married, started a family and everything else, and I'd have some rough moments, and I would drown a lot of my darkness in alcohol. I was already an alcoholic in my teenage years, but it got really bad for a while. And after me and my first wife split up, I kind of got into a dark place for a little bit. I had a minor nervous breakdown, and luckily I had some good roommates that I was staying with that they understood. A lot of them dealt with the same problems, and so we were kind of everybody's supports. Yet again, I had some support, so I was able to really get through that. And I did. I had just a minor nervous break. It's basically, I had a breakdown over one day, and I cried for about 6 hours straight, and I felt a lot better. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to let this get me down. I had good support. Well, you know, a few years later, I made what became my second wife, and, you know, we had a little bit of a family going and everything else, and some things happened with that relationship, and we split up, and I kind of went dark. And I realized, and I internalized it, and I threw myself into, I was working 12-hour shifts all the time. And basically, if the kids weren't at my house, I would come home from a 12-hour shift, sit in a chair, and basically was staring at walls for hours on end. I mean, I'd play a video game or watch a movie, but it was basically, I was alone. I was internalizing a lot of stuff, and nobody really knew the fight I was going through. And it was rough on me, but I pushed through on it. But I'd already quit drinking at this point. Like, I quit drinking in 2005. And this was 2011 when this happened. So I was kind of in a dark place, but I didn't let it get me down. I knew I was better than that. Well, I moved back down to Tennessee in 2012, and I've had it rough off and on, but I mean, I've had a good life down here. Well, 4 years ago, I won't go into the situations of it, but 4 years ago in 2017, my life collapsed. I had a lot of stuff that I thought was just going great, and it wasn't as good as I thought, and basically my entire world crumbled. Just everything that I was believing in was just nothing. It was gone. And I don't blame the other person in the situation. I mean, it's life happens, and I got into the mode that I wanted to fix things. I felt I could fix things, fix what was wrong, fix what was right, and the person had asked for some space. That's all they asked for. They said, just give me some space, let me think things over, and I didn't do that. I kept pushing to make things right. I kept pushing to fix things, and my anxiety kept taking over. My anxiety got worse, and at the same time my depression was getting worse. So it's like, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this. And I had people in my family, half of them was telling me, just back off, let things play out, and others were like, well, you gotta fix this, you gotta make it right. And so I was very conflicted, and I did the wrong thing and was trying to fix things that I couldn't fix. And the anxiety got worse, and my depression got worse, and it came to a head that in the fall of 2017, I literally was ready to end my life again. I mean, I had everything lined up. I wasn't going to shoot myself. I actually had a jar of belladonna. I was going to brew me up belladonna tea and just go to sleep, and that be it. I had set it out. I was kind of hoping my son, my oldest, we were living together in an apartment together. I was kind of hoping he might see it and talk to me. I mean, I was giving myself a way out, and I was just trying to find any excuse not to do it. And I honestly, I couldn't find anything, not my kids, nothing. I could not find a legitimate reason not to end my life. And I was working 7 days a week, working 2 jobs. I was running about 75 hours a week between drive times, work, everything with both of these jobs. And I was burning the candle at both ends and cut a chunk out of the middle and set it on fire too. So I ended up getting put in the hospital because I had every indication of having a heart attack, except for the markers in the blood showing that I was actually having a heart attack. I mean, everything was pointing to I'm having a heart attack. That's how bad the anxiety had hit me. They put me through a stress test, and the doctor literally said, I'm an engine running in the red line and I'm hitting a NOS button. That's all I was doing to my body. I was going to shut down. I was going to self-destruct. There was no if, it was when is it going to finally just shut down, and I was done. And I went home and had a complete, full mental break and nervous breakdown. I was out. And here's the funniest thing. Creshadows had just released a new album, and I'm a huge fan of them. They're a great band, and their music's helped me out through the years. But they had just released a new album called Astro Mythology. Amazing album. And the songs on it, I swear, were just touching me. They were exactly how I was feeling, exactly what I was going through. I mean, there's a song on there called Home, and literally it still kind of brings a tear to my eye to this day, 4 years later when I listen to it, that I was literally just breaking down in tears every time that song come on. But as I'm having that full breakdown, I literally was in a dark room. I went into my bedroom, had that too for 3 days straight. I was literally laying on the floor, wasn't eating, wasn't drinking. I was in full shutdown mode, and I just wanted the pain to go away. And that's how hard depression hit me. That I was lower 4 years ago than I was at 16 when I actually put the gun to my head. I mean, I was lower. And I didn't understand what I could do. And as I was listening to that song, I had that album set up on repeat on my phone. Well, suddenly I fell asleep. I woke up to a different Crescendo song from a totally different album starting to play. And the song's called Valkyrie. It's off of their Halo album. And it was really funny that my phone decided to switch and play something different. But the song, one line, Rogue's voice hit out to me. It was like he was talking to me. Something was guiding me again. And the line played, and I knew that that was my answer. And the song goes, and if I fall, give me the strength to rise unbroken. And I realized something made that play. That was the voice. That was the reason I was looking for. And I realized I've fallen. I've fallen. I have to find the strength to rise unbroken. So yet again, music saved my life. And I did. There's a lot of people. I had a couple people that really knew how I was feeling, but they didn't know how dark and how deep I had went. And I had a couple people that I was able to talk to. But that line, and that really struck a chord with me. It was the one thing that snapped me out of it. And I realized, I was like, that's I have to live by that line. And if I fall, give me the strength to rise unbroken. And I was like, and that's when I realized, and it's taken me 4 years, okay? It's coming up in a couple of months. It'll be 4 years since I had that breakdown. And next month, like I said, it's 30 years that I've been fighting this war. So it's a continuous war. But 4 years ago, I finally realized, I was like, I've got to live for me. No one else. I have to live for me. People can reach in to try to save you, but unless they crawl in that hole with you, they don't know. And I've been in that hole with you people. I know. If any of my words can help you out, just understand. Tomorrow is another day. If you don't give your chance to have that next day, things will never get better. And I almost took tomorrow away from myself twice. And every day that you live, you've got one more yesterday behind you. All you have to do is wait for that next sunrise. That's all you have to do. Live it one day at a time. That's all I'm asking. Just one day at a time. Make it through the night. The next day is a new day. Give yourself that chance to have that next tomorrow. And then once you have that day, all you have to do is let yourself have that next tomorrow. It is a fight. It is a war. It is continuing. If you suffer depression, it is always there. It doesn't matter how much counseling you go through, how much medication you're on. It is always there, and there's people that don't understand that. I do understand that. I've been in this war. I've been in the trenches with you, my people, for 30 years, and I've been fighting it. And there's been days that I've wanted to retreat. There's been days I've wanted to give up, but I didn't. I've hung in there. And it feels like that fight's never going to end. And the truth is, it never ends. But you've got to live through the days. You've got to fight. You've got to hang in there. Nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody's going to make you take your medications. Nobody, oh, sorry. No one is going to fight for you. You have to fight for yourself. No one will make you take your medications. No one will make you go to counseling. No one will make you talk to them. But when the people walk up and they say, hey, are you doing okay? Be honest. Be, I'm having a bad day. And if they want to talk to you, be like, okay, but just understand I'm not having a good day. I'm in a bad place. If they truly understand and they're truly your friend, they'll be like, well, tell me about it. Let's see what we can do to help. And it will make you feel better. But you have to be honest with yourself that you do have these moments, that it is going to get dark. And as they say, it always is darkest right before dawn, and it is. You've got to let yourself have that next sunrise. Because only you can do it. It is a fight. And I'm here with you, my friends. I'm in the trenches. I'm here. But just remember, you have to let yourself have tomorrow. Because if you take it away, there's no more. You won't have any more yesterdays. It's gone. Just fight for it. Hang on for it. And one thing that kind of gets me is when somebody says, oh, they were selfish that they committed suicide. No, it's not selfish. When you're in that point, you're not thinking about family. You're not thinking about friends. You want your pain to end. It's not selfish. It's they do what they felt was right for them, right or wrong. And I'm not saying suicide is ever justifiable. But when you live in that constant pain and that constant fear, I hear those voices. The ones that talk to you from the darkness, that just, you're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. It's all your fault. You hear these voices, and then you hear that whispering. But what if it's over? It'll be better when it's over. It's lies. Those are lies to you. You've got to fight for it. And if you give in to the fear, you give in to the anxiety, you give in to the depression, the only thing that wins, is the depression. You're letting it control you. And it sucks. You just live your life, my friends. I know I've kind of got a little long-winded on this. I've got some editing down to do, but I just want you to know I understand you. I feel for you. I'm going to stay in this fight. I'm going to go down kicking, screaming until my depression can split out from me and kill me. It's never going to win. I'm going to fight this. And I want you to fight too. Just remember, my friends, as Rogue said, and if I fall, give me the strength to rise unbroken. I want you guys to go out, find that strength, find your center, find what makes you live, what makes you want to fight. My fight is, I want my kids to remember me having a good life. I've always tried to keep it away from them, but I want them to know it's okay to feel sad. It is okay. These feelings are natural. People that tell you, oh, I'm always happy, behind closed doors, they are crying too. They put on a mask, they put on a face. That's why I'm doing this with no costumes, no makeup, no helmets, no mask, except for the mask that I wear every day. And I go around and I want to make people feel good, and I want to make them smile, because you know what? I feel that pain in here, and it's always in here. And that's why I'm fighting this war, because I know it's in here. That darkness is always in here, and it will always be in here. But I'm going to fight. I'm going to rise unbroken. I will not let it keep me down. I have fallen. I've been there. But I'm rising. And I want you to rise too. So here's to 30 years in this war, and looking forward to 30 more fighting this war, because I'm in it for you guys, and be in it for each other. Be there for each other, because at the end of the day, we do have each other, but it all comes down to you. Will you rise unbroken? And that's my challenge for you. I want you to rise unbroken. Don't ever let it get you down. All right, later, guys.